Okay, so guys, meet your previous selves, and over there in the corner is my dad. It's a long story. So this is not the first time you guys have done this. So I'm gonna kind of kick over to you, and I wish I could figure out how to make the speakers be bigger. I can never remember how to do this. I'm not gonna worry about it. So here's what I'd like to do. I kind of set this up. So all these folks have been in and around my world. They all take advantage of the lifetime guarantee. And what I'd like to do is to kind of let them, and we'll just, whoever wants to jump in the pool first, and if more people bleed in, cool, and if not, then we'll go with the smaller audience. I'd like you to take 5 minutes, kind of a little story about yourself, how you ended up where you are, and then where you are now and what you're doing. Cool? All right. Who wants to start? I'm not going to pick. Somebody jump in. Oh my God. Really?
I'll do it.
All right. Go.
Let's go. My name is Alyssa Jones. I started, wait, what was the,
Well, you got 5 minutes to tell your damn story.
Oh God. Okay.
Maybe 8.
I met Mark at MTSU. I was a student. I come from a really, really small town of less than 1,000 people. So I decided to go to MTSU and pursue a music business degree, thinking that was what I would like to do. I actually met a couple folks that are on this meeting through MTSU, which is super nice. Cameron, lovely to see you. And I fell into Mark's class. It was super new. We actually came up with the name A Minor in Reality, or helped to, and learned about entrepreneurship and building businesses, and kind of got that experience. After graduation, I went to the largest booking agency in the world, Creative Artist Agency. I spent a couple years there, learned a lot, and then COVID hit. So definitely impacted the music industry, and I decided to leave and decided that music wasn't for me anymore. And so then I took Mark up on his lovely offer, the lifetime guarantee. I started working at a startup that he had founded, and kind of worked with him for, I think, 2 years, bounced around, worked at a bank for a moment because I needed a little bit more stability than a startup. And then I ended back up at a startup. So right now I'm with Better Than Booze, which is a hemp beverage. Super delicious. If you're in Nashville, we're founded in Nashville, majority women team, woman co-founder. Mark is also a part of it a little bit, and then a lot of it.
I told them they know what's happening.
Got it. Okay. Yeah. So kind of after the music business, I fell into startups, and that's been my life ever since. And I don't know how much, Mark, you've said, but the wonderful world of startups is that you learn a lot, and you get to kind of course, my dog's squeaking a squeaker. You get to do things that you're not afforded in a regular corporate 9-to-5, but also with that comes risk, and a lot of risk, actually. And we are experiencing that now with the company, but hopefully we'll keep going and pushing forward. So I think was that everything? Startups.
Because we have if you're amenable, would you mind sharing the story of when I fooled you with the fake Texas billionaire?
Oh my God. He literally invited me to this call, and I was like, okay, but only if there's a Texas oil billionaire. It's one of my favorite Mark stories, and there is a lot you'll learn about Mark. He has a lot of stories, and we were in his class, and I think Matt was there, and I was working on this startup plan, and we walked into class. It was like a Wednesday night at like 7 p.m. And he was like, okay, guys, Alyssa, your startup plan that you've been working on, we have a Texas oil billionaire that you're going to pitch it to, and he's interested in investing and all this stuff. And so I'm shaking, nervous, shaking in my boots. And I think it turned out we did it, and it was great.
You
But
fucking killed it. You killed it.
he kind of threw me in the bathwater, and I think I swam, but it turned out it was just his friend, and he wanted to test us. So
Right. You never know what's going to happen in here. Literally. You killed it. Okay, thank you for that. Miranda, you want to go next?
Sure. Hi, guys. So I am also a graduate of MTSU, and I met Mark in, I think it was 2019, right before the world shut down. I took his class. It was when it was in downtown Nashville. I'm not sure where you guys are right now, but one of the things that I loved about the class is that I wasn't just hanging out in Murfreesboro, where there's really not a lot to do besides go to MTSU.
Yep.
But I would say, I was very young at the time. I went to college straight out of high school, and taking Mark's class was one of the most transformative experiences I had, because it really taught me about seeing things from unique angles and different perspectives, and understanding the way you think about things inherently isn't the only way. So I instantly knew that this was somebody whose, mindset I wanted to adopt, whose experience I wanted to learn from. Mark is such an incredible connector. Again, lifetime guarantee, like Alyssa was saying. So just, it was, again, very transformative for me, and I was really glad to get to participate. I was also a music business major. And I graduated in 2021, and pretty much immediately started working at a talent agency. I was at UTA for a little over 2 years. I had a stint at a music tech startup that Mark is also an investor in, called Soundstripe. And then my life completely changed when I moved away from Nashville and ended up in Washington, D.C., where I am now. And tapping back into Alyssa's story, I actually work for a creative artist agency. I am still in booking, but I am not in music for my day job, at least. But I work in their speakers bureau, which is a really cool and fun and inspiring side of the business, because there's so many incredible acts and talent that you get to work with. Like, a corporate organization wants to bring in Leslie Odom Jr. to talk about creativity and leadership, and then he'll perform a few songs. So it just kind of, depends on the event. But it's, for me, the thing that I really learned from the class is you need connections, you need other people to make things come together. And that, that was impressed upon me in my professional and personal life. And so, just getting to book things, everything you need to make happen with that, for that to be successful, it requires a team. It kind of takes a village. And, I'm so glad that you guys are all there in person, getting to bounce ideas off each other and get input from Mark and Reed and Ernest. But I am not in one of the big three for entertainment in the US with New York, LA, or Nashville. But I'm still making it work on the East Coast, still in talent and entertainment. So it's been a fun ride.
Cool. Thank you. And thanks for doing this, everybody, but thank you. All right, I'm unpin you. I'm learning how we go. All right, who wants to go next? Cameron, you want to go?
Sure, I'll go. First off, better than booze. It's good stuff. Let's try it.
Checks in the mail.
Well, let's go.
Your residuals. So I graduated from MTSU too. I did not meet Mark through his class. I believe we first met when I just asked Jake if I could intern for him when he worked at his studio at Mark's house. And sort of evolved from there. He asked if I could go out and start recording his podcast. when he had this class at the Inc. building. And from there, we've sort of evolved into making a couple albums out at his studio every week. And we've got a couple sync deals now with one of his friends. But I think mainly what will interest the class is my work I do for my day job as an audio engineer. I work for TNA Wrestling. So it's a professional wrestling organization that they do a lot of touring around North America and Canada. But I'm one of 6 people on a post-production team. So basically, I am bringing in AAFs and mixing down everything for post-production to be either played on a pay-per-view or broadcast for a show. There's a few different language shows that I do in Hindi and Spanish. But if that sort of thing interests any audio engineers in the class, it's a lot of doing sound design to match graphics that come from the picture editors. And I don't have to go too far into detail with that, but yeah, I mean, I think that's a quick synopsis. Mark, I don't think I'm forgetting anything there.
I think you're good. All right, let's go to Christian, and then we're going to save Matt, who's the OG on the call, for last. You're muted, Christian. Still muted. Almost. Not quite. See if I can.
There we go.
There he is. All right.
Good to go. What's going on? My name is Christian McCurdy, also a graduate. I graduated for 2014. Took Mark's class. Was awesome. That's pretty much. I'm kind of just gonna echo everybody else said. Like, you know, I feel like I'm an advocate for education and university for sure, but I feel like college kind of just typically tells you like the pieces of like the definitions of what things mean. But Mark's class is the only class that I had that like I really learned to kind of put it together at a higher level, you know what I mean? And more of the direct experience that I still pull from. I texted him randomly, like, I don't know, like maybe a month ago or something, was like, you know, I was looking over notes from a more recent conversation. I was like, this did help me years later. So, you know, I'm a big advocate for everything that he's doing. I guess we're going with the background as well. So I am in LA. I run a management company called Legion Management, publishing company called Anomaly Publishing, where we primarily work with songwriters and producers, have a couple artists as well. Been doing this for a while, since like 2017, I think is when I officially like started my company, and it's been great. And we've worked with everyone from Ariana Grande to Beyonce and to Lady Gaga and Chris Brown and Drake, a bunch of people. So it's been awesome. I mean, I don't know, that's kind of who I am and my background.
Cool. All right, thank you, sir. Matt, it's all you, baby. Take us home.
Yo, let's go. All righty. Well, first off, as somebody with a sober girlfriend, a variety pack of Better Than Booze would be fantastic to have. I'm just flagging that.
On your way, new tropical pack, baby. It's on your
Deal.
doorstep.
Oh, I'll text you my address later.
Do it.
What's up, folks? Yeah, so I'm the OG here. I met Mark 13 years ago. No, 2010. So 16 years ago.
Yeah.
I was a bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, 20-year-old in a room full of seniors. Mark's first ever go at teaching college students. He comes in wearing overalls, dropping the F-bomb, and I just was like, I don't know what the hell this guy is about, but this is everything that I wish I was getting. Like many others, I was a student at MTSU, graduated in 2015 with a music business degree. I'll spare the details, but I really took to heart a lot of what I learned in my time with him. Launched a company out of college, working in podcasting, which is where I still am. Hopped around a few different startups, and currently I am the SVP of sales at a company called Paragon. So I work with some of the biggest comedy talent in the world. Andrew Scholes, Wendy Cummings, Andrew Santino, used to be the home for Theo Vaughn. And so I primarily, basically, if you listen to a show and you hear an ad on the show, that's me. But yeah, I was getting my ass kicked by Mark for many years. and learned a lot. And I'm always, really excited to be here and spread the knowledge. And I'm in New York, so I've been here about a year.
Thank you, Matt. All right. Yeah, hold on. I'm breaking out the better than booze, y'all. Hold on.
Let's
It's all the
go.
non-alc because I don't know who's legal in the room.
There it is.
Okay,
I'm so serious, by the way. Like, I'm texting you my address right now.
Are you Nashville? You're still Nashville, right?
I'm in New York.
New York.
Oh, shit, you
Here,
just-
if you want one,
Like the Nashville one.
Everybody send me your address.
Lisa, did you say where you're based? Are you still in the Nashville area?
I'm Nashville. Yeah, yeah,
Okay. How are you guys doing with the storm? Because I'm not there anymore.
yeah. We're
hold on. That might be 10. Someone might have to split one.
we're good. We're good. We didn't
Good.
lose power, but we're still in ice. We're still under like, I don't know, 3 inches of ice. So
Gosh, no.
Nashville's brutal right now,
And
guys.
then the world is just a skating rink for your poor dogs right now.
Dude, I'm a snowboarder, so I was like, this is nice. I was snowboarding on a little hill outside my house. It's fine.
Okay, so what I want to do is I want to kind of pause and open. Yeah, it's good, isn't it? It's good. Yeah, it's fucking good. I want to pause for a minute and let you guys ask if you've got questions. I think you've heard kind of what everybody's doing or done. Fire away at them, right? Ask them whatever you want. And it's not really about the class, right? It's just about what they're up to and how they've evolved and where they are now and where they're going. Go ahead.
How did you transform what Mark taught you into tangible results?
Who wants to take that one?
I mean, I'll start off.
I'll take it. Matt, you want to go first?
One of the best things that sort of I picked up was sort of this relentless, like, I feel like Mark's story is one of getting punched down and then standing back up and just going fucking at it. And that was something that I always really respected. And so for me, like, every obstacle that I've dealt with, every sort of setback that I've had to deal with has been one where it's something where I go like, yeah, this shit sucks, but like there is an overall lesson here and there is lots of time left in whatever the hell that I'm doing. And so being able to just make mistakes early, learn from the mistakes, and then move forward in my career. Like I kind of quickly went from founder of a company to SVP in the span of 8 years because I was allowed to make mistakes and be humble and learn a lot and kind of go from there. And I think most people are willing to give you a breath of fresh air if you show them that you're willing to improve and take criticism valid and move forward. So just being able to like learn from your mistakes and admit that you're not going to know everything and then just sort of like taking it and going from there. So
I want to editorialize this a little bit. I kicked the shit out of Matt. Like he took all of it and wanted more.
Is it like a Matt thing? Like, are you only doing?
No, it's not just for Matt. It's Matt
Because I was
1
a little
and
scared
2.
for a second.
Matt 1 and 2. You can have extra shit taken if you want, but
In moderation.
no, it was.
I think Matt too demands it.
That's
Yeah, Matt, what the hell?
Yeah. All right, sorry, but and your persistence. I mean, what you're talking about is when you get knocked down, you get back up, right?
yeah,
It's not-
exactly.
It's all that's what it's about. Well,
Yeah.
You want? Is that question for anyone, Alvin?
Yeah.
Anybody else want to take that one?
Yeah, I have some thoughts on that. I would say just the fact that, you can take the leap, right? Like you can send that cold email to an executive you admire. You can, ask that music producer who's, got an ungodly amount of Grammys, like, hey, like, can I come by your studio? Can I buy you coffee? Like, I would love to learn from you. You can always, take the chance because there's very little downside other than like maybe coming across as a germ, if Mark has explained that term to you guys. But
Later.
yeah. But anyways, no, it's just like, I mean, eagerness versus over eagerness is a different conversation, but it's like just show up, show that you're excited to be there. People really appreciate enthusiasm in this day and age where so many people act too cool for everything. And it's like, no, it's like, I want to know that you care. I want to know that you're going to work hard. I want to know that you're going to commit. And so again, being willing to leap, being willing to show up, you know, is going to get you noticed, and it's going to take you really, really far. And if things don't work out, you can always pivot. That's the thing. It's like, you know, unless it's like, for example, financial investment, like you can put time and energy into something, and if it doesn't work out, you can just take a step in a different direction and be resilient about that, like how Matt has been, for example. It's like, okay, I've been knocked down. This didn't work. I'll try something different. What's next? What new connections can I make? You know, what, you know, new relationships can I foster to help me move in this new direction? So just, I'd say, you know, having a mindset that isn't limited, you know, being willing to jump and not know where you're going to land has been really valuable. And that's one of the best pieces of wisdom that I gathered from learning from Mark.
Awesome. Anyone else want to take it? Christian?
I mean, I'm kind of echoing what they're saying. To me, it's just the reality piece, right? I think it's just like, I can't express how valuable it is just to be with somebody or be around somebody, you know, that is actually doing the things that you want to do. Like there's not a price for that, right? It's unmeasurable to me, you know what I mean? Especially when you're starting out, you're trying to figure out where you're going. And, you know, after, you know, post college or in life in general, you have somebody that's like been doing this for a long time and has built companies, especially anybody that's like on the entrepreneurship side, you know, which is obviously taking the class, I'm sure there's some level of interest there. It's like he's done it time and time and time again. So just seeing how it works in real life and, you know, being around people too, because as everybody else said, it's like if somebody, Marcus might will introduce you to somebody else, you know, that's incredible. Because like when I first came to LA, it's really hard to like navigate people, you know what I mean? So if you have that can be people you can work for. So having somebody that you're learning from that is with not wanting anything in return, will just introduce you to somebody or give you advice or direction. It's, to me, that's the biggest part that I see out of the class. It's just like how this really works on another level, you know, versus reading about it in a book. So I don't know, that's just it.
On that note, would you guys all be willing to take an email from anyone in class if they wanted to catch you offline? Okay.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Cool. All right. Anybody else want to take this question? I think we got it. We lost Cameron. There he is.
No, I'm still here.
You want to take this one or you want to pass? It's all good if you want to pass.
I would just say like it was a little hard in terms of tangibility for like an audio engineer to really have progress from what I've learned from you, Mark, which has been a lot since I've known you as long as it has been. But I mean, the thing with Mark is he'll connect you with whatever interest you have. And he knew I was an audio guy coming up and introduced me to Reed way back long ago, who he's just like, buy him a cup of coffee sometime and take him out. And that's kind of Mark's strength in terms of pushing you in your direction. But I think in sort of tangibility, I mean, I can use us a couple years ago starting up a sync music project, which we didn't even know at the time was for sync. We just sort of were like, Mark wanted to start making music every Friday and bring me on as an engineer, which eventually led to becoming a part of the project. But we both were kind of figuring that out on our own as well, in terms of the legality and the PROs. And week after week, Mark would be like, oh, I'm bringing in a guy from Sound Exchange this Friday to talk to us. Oh, you know, I'm bringing in my friend from BMI. I've known this guy for X amount of years. Like, Mark just always knows a guy for anything, I guess, which is a good
reputation and Rolodex, baby.
Yeah. But it's been a journey making music over the past couple of years, and we've got a lot of cool tunes out of it and have a couple deals now. So that's just sort of evolving and taking off on its own. But we've learned a lot of that process, both of us.
Okay. Other questions? I'm going to also pick on them a little bit. Who else has got a question? Come on, these are your peers, a couple years ahead of you. I heard something about, I want to just touch on this. Cam and talk about it for a minute, but we set a goal to write, record, and release music every week. So for you who did not release the music you were supposed to, like, what the fuck?
Asking for 2 months for the song.
Yeah, okay. All that record needs is out. Okay. Other questions? Anyone, shoot it out.
What part of Opel? All right, Matt.
No, that's not.
Oh,
that's not one.
For Cameron as well. Just, you said you're doing post production for like a wrestling show, right?
A wrestling company. We actually just signed a contract with AMC this year as well. So we'll be on AMC every Thursday.
Cool. So when you're doing like post, are you like mixing out of like a specific like studio? Does the company like have a studio, or do you?
Yeah. So I basically work in a post-production office at Skyway Studios. There's a lot of companies like us that it's just kind of where we're based out of, and it's a team of about 7 or 8. I don't know what I said earlier, but I am one of the 2 people that doesn't go on the road with them. So I'm basically doing stuff with each weekend they're shooting tapings, and I'm one of the guys like in there during the day, during the week to help churn out, whatever is going to broadcast into the network.
Cool. Yeah. So Skyway Studios is the main.
Yes.
Yeah,
It's like a giant, studio building.
Is that New York based? I can't remember. I know I've heard of Skyway. But...
Skyway's here in Nashville.
Okay. I can remember.
It's on Dickerson Pike. But I've had a student come out, actually one of Mark's classes last year. He was interested, and he came out and shadowed me for a day. So if you're like an engineer and you just want to check out the space for whatever reason, come on.
Okay, I'm just gonna say that offer stands for this year. Sweet. All right. Matt, 1 or 2. I'm not gonna get involved in this altercation.
It's 1.
That's 2.
But so, what are some of like I know Mark's a big rule breaker. What are some rules that you have broken? Like what are like, how do I word this
With English.
What's the biggest rule that you've broken that has given you a positive outcome?
I think to Miranda's point, sorry, Alyssa, I jumped ahead. You can literally just fucking do things.
No, it's okay, Matt. No, it's okay. Now you don't get anything.
Yeah.
I will go ahead because my point is that the rule that I have broken the most in everything I think that I've done, especially in startups, again, I'm the startup girl, is that can I cuss? I can cuss in this.
I don't give a shit.
All right. I guess I just broke my own rule, is that I don't give a fuck what I'm supposed to do, where like I'm supposed to be or where I should be. I do what I want to be and do. So I don't wait until someone tells me fun fact, we're in Walmart. Better Than Booze is in Walmart, which is a huge accomplishment. And Walmart came to us and said, hey, we've seen your metrics. We want you in 8 states and 450 stores.
Can I pause you 1 second?
Yes.
Walmart never comes to you.
Never.
Ever. Go on.
It's huge rarity. Every single time I tell someone that who's in the beverage business is like, you're insane. That's not. Our buyer at Walmart literally messaged our founder on LinkedIn and was like, hey, this isn't a scam. I'm with Walmart and we want your product. So we didn't have anyone to manage Walmart, which is in a job of itself. And I just raised my hand and said, I can do it. I've never done it. Walmart is the biggest retailer in the United States. And most people do this and have like 10 years under their belt of launching CPG companies in retail. And so I broke the rules and I said, I'm going to do it and I'm going to do it well. and we launched in 450 Walmarts and had 100% execution within a month, which is unheard of in big box stores. And we did a damn good job of it, and we actually just got expansions. So yeah, I think the biggest rule to break is don't follow people's expectations. Do what you think that you need to do and that you know you're capable of. Obviously, be capable of it first, but don't think that you need to kind of stay in your lane, sort of thing. So that's it.
Anyone else want to take that?
Yeah,
one?
just going up on my point before Alyssa and I were going back and forth. Like, you literally can just do things. Like, to Miranda's point earlier, like, I work in sales. I work in a relatively small industry. Like, for the most part, everybody knows each other. And, you know, the common lesson in sales for the most part is like, you kind of have to have your script and your objections and blah, 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 blah. And like, that's true to a certain extent. But like, whenever I go to conferences where I'm like meeting people face to face, the first like 15 minutes of my conversation is like, who are you? What are you about? What are you excited for? Like, all of the bullshit that we actually need to be talking about, we can discuss over email. But like, this is the 15 minutes that I have with you as a person, as a human, and not a floating head over a Zoom screen. Like, I want to get to know you as a person. And then people feel comfortable around you. They feel trusted around you. And then all of a sudden, business just opens up because people are going to want to work with people that they know and trust and respect. And so, like, obviously, to Alyssa's point, like, you have to know your shit. But like, when I tried to force this like persona on myself of being this like seller guy, it just like I landed flat on my face. And then I realized that like, oh no, I'm really good at connecting with people. And then it all just sort of clicked. So like, you can literally just do things. Like, there are no rules. There's no playbook. Like, you can just, if you decide to do it, like, go fucking do it.
In fact, my hat literally says "F the rule." That's like my company, mantra. So
Yeah, that's awesome. Other questions? Nothing?
Miranda, what's it like having Michelle Obama in your speed dial?
What? She's in the speakers bureau.
Actually, I've got Kamala, not Michelle.
Okay, sorry. Wow. Okay, there's a lot of bad ways I can go, and I'm gonna keep my mouth shut on that front. But that's still really funny.
What's Kamala getting? What's Kamala getting per show these days?
Mm-mm.
I thought I'd ask.
No, your hat, Christian. I bought this notebook the year I met Mark, and I still have it. I still take notes in it all the time.
beautiful, love it.
Oh, well, actually, honestly, to Miranda's point, like, write everything down. Like,
Yes.
I'm still old fashioned. Like, there's Firefly and Otter and all of these note taking apps, but I am still just old fashioned and write everything down. Because I've tried doing like notes apps and like it just doesn't work for me. So like, go analog.
I want to bounce off of what Matt just said. AI is an amazing tool. Don't let it be a takeover for your own intelligence and your own abilities, right? Use it to supplement what you can do. But, you know, at the end of the day, make yourself read physical books, make yourself write things down. You are going to stay sharper. You will, again, all of it, because it's like, I've felt my brain atrophy over the years after, you know, spending too much time on social media and becoming too reliant on technology. And it's like, you gotta find the right balance of embracing technology and not letting it, you know, replace your own skills, if that makes sense.
Yeah, if anything, I feel like humanity, as a, whether it's in the arts or in whatever, is going to be just a much more intangible skill set. Like as technology and AI increases its takeover of the world, like the more human you can be, I feel like is going to be such a much more sellable and more enticing offer overall. Like to Miranda's point, like I use ChatGPT every day to like tighten up my writing here and there, but like I'm still just kind of going off the cuff and sort of being a human on a human at the end of the day. So it really is just a lesson in like understanding tools and their capabilities, but not letting them take over.
So like be a human, not an entity. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Other questions? I have one for Christian. So, Christian, will you talk, go a little deeper into jumping into LA and going from, if I recall correctly, you moved out there on basically with no plan, lived in someone's basement or on someone's couch. And didn't you get a couple Grammy nods? You've had several Grammy nods, and like you guys are kind of killing it. Will you talk a little bit more about how you've been building your business over the last, 5 years, particularly?
Yeah, and thank you. But yeah, I mean, so I drove out here from Nashville in like 2015 was like the day that I landed. Like I think like January 1st or something like that. So 11 years now. But yeah, I drove out here and it took a while. I lived about an hour outside of the city. At somebody who now I think of as my aunt, but I literally just met her that same day that I moved in. I kind of just figured it out. I knew people from MTSU actually. I knew an artist songwriter named PJ who went to MTSU, but she ended up getting like a deal out here at Atlantic Records. So I knew her not very well, but we had a lot of mutuals and each other. So I would just go out and support her and support anybody. I would just show up, places. First time I came to Atlantic Studio, I know everybody from the engineer to the A&Rs knew their names already, but I acted like it was the first time meeting them because it was, but it took some time to bump my head. I basically swallowed my pride too, going back to what Matt was saying earlier about just like, getting kicked down and standing back up, you know what I'm saying? Like I bumped my head and I thought, I was like the VP or something at Match Records, and I was Omega Delta Psi. I was all the things you can think about being involved in Tennessee, and I had a lot of connections out there, but they just didn't transfer over to LA the same way. So I kind of just did everything that I possibly could do. I struggled. I did it for free. I did it for little pay when they offered it to me. But the most important thing to me was just making connections, and after about a year, 2016, I started picking up a little more momentum, and I just built it from the ground up. One client at a time until it made sense to get a company, which is called Legion, and so yeah, I mean it's been awesome. Wasn't easy for sure. A lot of ups and downs, but I feel like if you really want to do it, it takes hard work, and that hard work isn't always fun, but it pays off in the end, Even the studio, so I'm like in like a back hallway or whatever in my studio right now, but it's the same studio I used to intern at. We took over the building when Atlantic left, took over the building. So very full circle moment to just experience that. But I don't think any of these things, including the Grammy nominations or whatever, all the other things we've done, wouldn't have happened without, like letting go of ego and putting in hard work and making sure that everybody knew who I was, like everybody says it's like, a lot of times say it's not what you know, it's who you know, but I feel like it's like who knows you, so that was a big part. I would just show up, make sure everybody at least knew my name. I didn't, going back to Miranda's point, I was making sure I wasn't like overbearing, but they knew who I was, and if they needed anything at all, I'd be there. Like that's kind of the effort it takes, at least within this industry, at least in the world that I do of like publishing, management, A&R. It's very different than like more of a traditional corporate structure, right? You have to kind of figure it out, and when you're starting your own company, even in management, it operates similarly to like a startup, so it was just me. Now I have a staff and a team, and so speaking of which, if anybody's in LA, we're always looking for interns. I don't know if you guys want to do that, but like I just said, it doesn't hurt to start over. But yeah, so I don't know if that answers the question that Mark.
No, it does. Talk a little. I want to go a little deeper on that. So how many on your team now?
So we have 12 clients on the publishing, so like management publishing. And then there's 6 total of us across the board. Because we also do like consulting for other companies. So on the staff side, there's 6 of us, a small team.
And I'm going to ask questions that are none of my business. What's your annual revenue?
I mean, it's cool. I mean, we make $1 million plus a year, annually. So
Yeah, right on. And when you're looking for, so all these guys in a couple minutes are going to be pushed out the side door into the real world. When someone walks in, what are the things you're looking for? What causes you to want to bring someone back to talk to them again when you're out on the hunt for someone to help you achieve your company's goals?
I think a big part of it is excitement. Somebody was mentioning it earlier. I forget. I'm sorry, but they were talking about excitement. I think it's so valuable just to be excited, right, about the position and the company and to know things like, if I'm interviewing somebody, I expect them to have an idea of our roster, so I'll ask questions like, who's your favorite, client? If they can't name anybody, then it's like, they don't really care about the company, right? And not that I expect them to care about much as I do, but you should at least care enough to look into it or want to be here. I don't want this, like me personally, I'm not looking to hire people that are just like trying to be here for 3 months and leave, right? I want you to care about what we're doing. So when we're with our clients or whatever we're doing, like you're actually invested in it, not just, doing it just to get paid, right? Like that's payment is great and that's part of it. And you make money and we make money, that's cool. But, what I care the most about is, caring about things and being excited and being smart. Like, I ask a lot of questions that are like random and situational, and I want to hear how you think. Like that matters to me tremendously because so much of, what I do, management, is figuring things out on the fly, jumping off and building a plane on the way down. So if I don't feel like you have the ability to do that, I don't know if I really want you part of my team. Like that's how we do things, We hire internally a lot, but that also is from interns working. I feel like there's people interns that are cool. And I can tell they come, when they're supposed to be here and they leave and I don't hear from them and they don't bring anything. Like, and we have a very open door policy here. So like we have 4 studios in this building and, we offer the interns to even book their own sessions. If you want to be an A&R, cool, show me, book a session with a writer or producer, put some things together. Here's some records that you can make if you want to be an A&R at least. Like, you have the opportunity to practice here. And there's some, interns don't ever take that up, so it's like, this isn't really what you want to do. It's, like it sounds good, but do you actually want to do this? So anyways, I digress. I care about people who care about what we're doing and are smart and quick on their toes. Like that's really big to me.
Right on. Miranda, will you talk a little bit about, because you've worked in startup land and you've worked in corporate land. And I'll kind of put it to you and to Alyssa because you both have these experiences. What do you, when you think about the juxtaposition of those two worlds, talk about how they're different and what you like about each of them and what you maybe don't like about each of them.
Ooh, this is going to be a fun one. I would say that startup land is, I would say that startups versus corporate, it's like the left brain versus the right brain, right? Where it's like corporate has structure and stability, whereas a startup, it's just more freeform because you're not following a certain template. You might be a disruptor. You might be doing something totally new. And there's opportunity in that, but there's also risk, like what Alyssa was describing. And so, from the standpoint of being an employee, it's going to be more interesting and maybe more difficult to try to forge a path in the startup world. But, if you're able to really strike the balance and, find a corner in the market and really connect with, consumers, then it is so rewarding. It's so worth it. But yeah, with corporate world, I think that it's a bit more of a, you have to learn how to network in different ways. Where startup, you're always trying to show how, innovative and different and interesting you are. Whereas corporate, it's about results and kind of following the formula. And not that makes it, boring or less worthwhile. It's just the fact that, there's a certain way that they're always going to do things. and you're very unlikely to, you know, change that particular system most of the time. So yeah, with startups, I would say, you know, it's probably going to be a wild ride until it goes from being like a startup to like, you know, an established, like, okay, we're actually bringing in revenue, like we're actually, the wheels are turning here, let's go. In the corporate world, again, it's just kind of knowing, you know, and you only learn by doing, where it's like, I learned so much about interpersonal dynamics and company politics. You know, I feel like I learned, you know, I learned so much in Mark's class, and then the pandemic hit and I was just taking classes online and, you know, using Quizlet and yada, yada. And then I got my first job, and I learned more in 6 months than I felt like I did in my entire like undergraduate, you know, program. It's just the fact that you will get into a space and it's the real world. Like Mark said, it's like, you know, sink or swim, learn how to, you know, tread water and then move forward. And yeah, it's drinking from a fire hose, but you end up, you know, taking in so much. And yeah, no matter what direction your, you know, careers take, all of you, whether it's more traditional or more freelance, or maybe being in the startup space, I would just say that, you know, the one thing that overlaps with all of that is knowing how to, you know, just, I remember we talked about this last year, where it's just like, it's really important to be a good hang. Like, in addition to knowing your stuff and being enthusiastic and, you know, putting in the effort, it's like people have to like being around you. And I'm not saying, you know, put on a fake personality, like it, you know, life is not a likability contest, but you need to understand how to play well with others and have a, you know, a help me help you dynamic with the people around you, or else you're probably gonna get stuck. Like, what, again, corporate, startup, whatever, it's, you know, it at the end of the day, it's really about, you know, like Christian was saying, you know, this is, you know, you know who I am, you know what I can do, you know, what can I do for you? What can you do for me? How can we work together? So yeah, I think that just in all, like, you know, there's going to be collaboration no matter what side of any industry you end up on. Alyssa, do you have any thoughts on that you want to jump in with, or?
I was nodding the entire time. I was like, yes, this woman's speaking truth. It's very funny because both of our corporate experiences, I know you have more corporate experiences than me, but we both share CAA, which is probably arguably one of the most corporate organizations in the music industry.
Yeah.
It is. Until you get into like publishing and stuff, I feel like they're pretty corporate over there. But yeah, I started very, very corporate, and I got a really good dose of it for 3 years. And I think the biggest thing between corporate versus startup is I think it's a very different personality. And I think different people thrive in different environments. And for me, it was kind of what I wanted out of my life and what I wanted my career to be, as far as I value flexibility very, very much. And I'm not afforded that in a corporate structure. I am in a startup, you know, like I really, the difference to me is kind of a life goals thing. And I work way better in a startup after having both. I don't know if I could ever go back to a corporate structure, but I will say and admit, when I had to plan a wedding, I went and got a corporate job. So, I mean, it is because I needed that stability and I needed that structure, and I needed to be able to not feel like the world was falling apart every single day. But if you're okay putting your hands in the fire and potentially losing your job every week and putting in really long hours, but also maybe working at 10 a.m. every day, I think that's kind of the trade-off. The corporate side is structure, and if you love kind of having and working with people, I think that's also a big point to corporate side.
Yeah, Christian said it, you're building the plane while you're flying it, which is very unsettling.
For real, yeah. Something Alyssa said about corporate life, I will say the person who you're working for like who you are reporting to in your corporate environment matters as much as the company. At UTA, I had a terrible boss, but now that I'm at CAA, I have an amazing boss. So it's just a matter of like, okay, yes, this is the company, this is its values, but who am I reporting to? Who am I interacting with every day? Because, you are influenced so heavily by the people you spend the most time with, whether it's at work, at, at school, in your social life. And you can't function well, you can't thrive, you can't, level up in your career if the person above you is keeping you down. So it's not just about where you're working, it's about who you're working for.
That is so true. So true.
I'm going to pause because I've been asking the questions. Any more questions come out of anything you've heard? Nah.
I have a question for y'all. What is it that you guys want to do? Like, what excites you all?
I wanna be a artist. I wanna perform. I want to be in the. I want to be on stage. I want my songs to hit people. I want to.
Okay.
Can y'all stand up? I can't tell who's speaking.
This is Matt, 1 or 2.
2, 1.
I'm like, I see nothing right now.
All right. Well, is there anything, since you want to be an artist, that's awesome. It sounds like you're doing some stuff already. Is there anything from like us that we can answer in that world? Like, I believe few of us, if not most of us, have worked with artists. So is there a question that we can help you out in that lane?
Production. So I want to reach out to somebody, not really sure who yet or how to even get to the part of reaching out. Hi, Trevor. Trevor helps me out here a lot with production. But yeah, I want to become more professional. I want to have my stuff be, more ready for the ears than just like a few vocal samples that I've been taking and then a shitty math rock guitar. But I want to get it in the ears of the industry. And I want to know how to, like, what are some strategies that you have to connect with people as somebody who's not really in the industry? I mean, like, my band has an album. I had no part in writing it or anything. But how do I go from wannabe to something?
Yeah, the biggest thing I personally, I'm not about to jump into, but me personally, I think is consistency, right? So that's gonna be the number one thing, right? I think you have to put music out, especially if you're, still developing. You have music out as often as possible. I'm a big believer in that, and you can always pull back and slow down in the future, right? But the music of today is not like, it's not the time where it's good to be mysterious or like even a perfectionist, right? I think that time will come. I think right now focus on putting as much music out, and naturally you'll get better as time goes on, right? I have no idea how great you are right now, but no matter what, I'm a believer that you can never. We should never stop trying to improve, right? So, you will get better if you continue to do it. I think it's good to try to maybe, definitely hone in on your sound, but there's also so much technology out there these days that can help you out with that. So I wouldn't let that limit you. And it's very cost effective. Beyond that, I think as annoying as it is, and I'm sure you've heard this a billion times, like social media is your friend. That's, like for instance, a prime example, right? When I'm looking to sign somebody new, whether it's some publishing or management, even to work with any of my existing clients, right? I manage some of like the biggest songwriters and producers, right? Who are doing incredible things. But the first thing I'm doing to even see if it's worth their time to get in with an artist is I look at their Spotify and see how their streams are doing, but I'm also looking at their Instagrams. Because I work with artists all the time. I sign people all the time, whether it's in my company or other companies, whatever, that are not enormous yet. The fact of the matter is A&Rs are constantly looking for music, and they want things that obviously are trending and doing well, right? But also there's a whole other slew of companies like mine that I don't feel like competing with Universal or Warner Chappell, right? Or Sony. Like I don't want to do that. Why? If they're offering somebody, $1 billion trillion for one album, I don't want to do that. It just doesn't make sense. But I'm always down to find an artist earlier, right? That might be at your level. But if I really love the music and I see that you work hard, because almost all of us, right, on that side, right, like going back to like when Mark was saying, like, who am I looking to hiring? I think of the same way when I'm looking to sign somebody. I want somebody who has a story, a narrative, who feels authentic, and they work hard. I don't want to work with somebody that I'm working harder than. So if you're showing that you're being consistent and you're using socials, because that's your discovery tool, right? So use social as much as you can, invest in that, learn how to do things on that. It's unfortunate, but today artists have to be content creators as well, at least for a while. Double down on that and somebody will find you. As long as the music is good, they'll find you. Even if the music isn't where it needs to be, they will find you. So it's just, that's the number one thing I would focus on personally.
I would also add, everybody starts somewhere.
Yeah.
Right. And so if you're starting somewhere, just accept that you're starting somewhere and keep going. But most people just give up. And the people who stay longest tend to win, right?
I was gonna say, I think I read somewhere Charlie XCX got her start in like 2009,
Yeah.
like something crazy like that. Like, I mean, now she's like
Yeah,
one
her
of the
parents
biggest
were
stars.
driving her to her DJ gigs.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's the 10-year town for a reason. So
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I mean, I signed a kid out of college recently. I'm looking at another kid right now that goes to Belmont. Not Belmont, I'm sorry, Berkeley. Wouldn't get back from Belmont, but from Berkeley. So it's just consistency, and like for me, for instance, on the publishing side, right? I don't expect somebody to be Jack Antonoff on day one, but I expect them to have like cool, unique ideas and be excited, So I would just focus on consistency, man.
Would you prioritize quality over quantity, or like
Yeah, I definitely personally prefer, because I prefer quality over quantity for sure, right? But when you're putting music out, I think at your level, based on what you're telling me, I would lean in the quantity section, and you'll get better. Because what you need to focus in on is right now, you need to focus on just doing as many songs as possible, right? Like, how many songs do you have or your band have total, like that you've written?
7.
7. Okay, cool. So that needs to be at like I don't know. This year is January. It was February 4th.
We got Cambridge.
You said what?
We got 2 more coming up.
Okay, cool. So is that released or that's unreleased, just in general?
Yeah. 2 that are unreleased, 7 that are released.
Okay, cool. So you have 9 songs altogether, right? I would greatly push you to get to a few hundred songs before the year's over.
100?
A few hundred.
Damn. Okay.
And that's, so my client, my clients on the low end are doing 500 songs a year on the low end. Some of them have over 1,000 songs in 1 year, right? So, but that's how you get better. Like I signed an artist a few years ago named Luke Calla. You probably heard her music, but I don't know if you would know it now. She's really big in Canada, still developing the States, but you've heard her songs before. When I met her, she had like 30 songs, right? I met her during the pandemic, and I made her learn how to record herself and record a song every single day during the pandemic, right? So that's how you get better, because if you spend so much time trying to focus on getting this one song perfect, you can learn a lot more by just keep doing things and making sure every song is slightly better than the last one. All right. So that's what I'm a big believer in that. And I like building songs, making songs is my business, right? That's what we do all day. We make records. So I recommend that, and you'll get better. And, by the time you're at it's 10,000 hours, the same concept, anything you do. So.
Is everyone in here familiar with the concept, the 10,000 hour concept?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. No, I mean, you're I'll put, I don't want to make it about me, but I'll make it about me for a minute. When Cam and I started writing and recording and releasing music every week, it was about creating that habit more than it was about, was it good? And you let God take care of the quality, you take care of the quantity, until you're to a point where the quality is good every time. It's not
100%.
going to be great, right? But you're going to get to a certain level where you are writing you're just going to get better by doing it more. Period.
What are you doing tomorrow? You want to do it tomorrow?
You want to do it tomorrow?
I'll do it tomorrow.
I can't do it tomorrow. You saw my schedule.
I did.
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk.
We'll figure it out.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. I think I just actually the ladybug.
That's okay.
So that's
That's our
Hey, Mark.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I have a question for the room. I can't quite see how many of you guys are in there, but how many of you are releasing material, whether it's like as the producer of someone's music or your own, writing and releasing songs? Like how many creatives do we have in here?
Two just left. So the rest of you, I need more creatives. Put your hands in the air.
Like release music or
Really, just write and really whatever that you're creative and creating stuff.
Okay.
A bunch of
I think we just lost Matt, and I did want him to hear this advice, but I think we're being recorded. When you are a creator, when you're starting out like this, you are your own business manager. And so it's really important to understand like what you're getting yourself into, like, for example, I have a friend who's based here in Nashville, and he was working with a videographer who was his friend to produce content for him. And the guy completely ripped him off, screwed him over, wasn't able to get any of the content that he shot. And they didn't have any kind of contractual agreement. It was just a handshake. So I will say, protect yourself, protect your music. I know that right now you're in school and it's educational projects and it's fun, but remember that at the end of the day, it's like until you have, your Avengers squad of your business manager, your lawyer, your agent, all of these things, you're going to have to do it all yourself. And it's really important to protect yourself. And I'm not saying this from a place of cynicism. I'm saying it because I don't want you guys to have to learn that the hard way. That there are people out there who are going to take your money, take advantage, and maybe even get you into a dispute about who owns this piece of art that you created, but suddenly they changed one word and they're like, no, you can't release that, I wrote it. So just being really clear with people up front, getting some, again, you guys, I had to take contracts and legal issues when I was at MTSU. Talk to your professors, get something, generated, get things in writing, just make sure that people aren't going to take advantage of the art that you're working so hard to create.
Good advice. We they got the NDA. Was I doing the NDA trick when you were in class?
Yep.
Okay, so yeah, we had a spirited debate about this. I think that's fair. Yeah. So, the idea of, you're bringing up something that I think is not talked about enough, which is people don't think about, not everybody has good intentions, right? And if you don't know your own business, you're in trouble. And it doesn't matter if you don't learn it and know it early, you're not going to do it later, and you're going to end up ripped off. Right? We're going to have someone come in to talk about that later in the semester. Anyone want to add anything to this? Too bad, Matt.
I have a question for my fellow speakers here, because something I'm dealing with, and I know Miranda and Christian and I are all folks that have kind of blossomed out and started new things, but it's February. It's still getting dark at 5 p.m. Like, how is everybody taking care of their mental health? Like, what are the things that you're doing to make sure that you're staying on sharp, on top of everything? Because like, we can sit here and talk about all the shit you should be doing, but like, if you're not taking care of your brain waves and yourself, then like, you're kind of fighting a losing battle. So I am really curious for everybody here, like, what are the things that you do to sort of keep yourself, sharp and aware of sort of where you are mentally. Because I still deal with it as a 33-year-old. Like, I've been grumpy the past 2 weeks because it's still just 10 degrees outside and dark at 5 p.m. And like, I can't
Oh my
even
God.
relate to the folks that are dealing with 3 inches of ice right now. So I'm just
The
curious for
snow.
everybody.
The snow, the ice, the cold. Ugh. No, but Matt brings up a really good point where if you are not taking care of yourself, if you're not in tune with yourself, every other part of your life is going to fall out from under you. Is Reed in the room, or is he just hanging out via?
This Firefly showed up, but he didn't show up tonight.
Ah, okay. Well, the advice that Reed will give you, if he hasn't already given it to you, is go to therapy. And whether that means actually sitting down with a licensed professional or just, reflecting in a journal and buying some books to get to know yourself better and figure your shit out. Like, you need to know who you are, what you value, and what makes you feel good in order for everything else to fall in place in your life, right? So it's little things like make sure you're taking time to even like go on a brisk walk, stretch, drink enough water, start with the baby steps, right? Because you're in college and you can slam God knows how many, high noons and, or if you'd rather, better than booze, which won't have the adverse effects. But I personally experienced this in college where I got very sick with a chronic illness about halfway through my tenure at MTSU, and it completely it transformed my life for the worse, and I had to figure out how to crawl my way back from that. And it really instilled the importance of taking care of myself, being in tune with myself, mental and physically, mind-body connection, all of that. So just take the time to do all of the obvious things. And I don't mean to sound like preachy when I say this, but it's like read books, get fresh air, drink your water, move your body, don't stare at a screen so much. Just start with the little steps, and then the bigger things like, going to a yoga class or deciding, what, I'm going to sign up for Babbel and I'm going to learn a new language. Like, the bigger things fall into place when you start with the little things. And it's even harder in the cold winter months when you don't want to leave the house and you're scared you're going to eat shit on the ice. But I would say make time for taking care of yourself. And part of that is connection. Human beings need each other, Go to a writer's round and just listen, go to a coffee shop and work just for the sense of having other people around you. If you see somebody cute at the table next to you, say hi. If you see someone who you think looks cool and interesting and is maybe a musician, say hi. Like, build the connections, take care of yourself. It'll get warmer eventually.
Hey, Miranda, and for any of the rest of you, do any of you have a meditation practice?
I have ADHD, so that doesn't really work for me. But what I do is, instead of just holding still and meditating, like I say, I will stretch and do yoga, and I'll be reflective during that because I can't really get my mind to be completely quiet. But I don't know if any of you guys have ADHD and you relate, but the only time my head is really quiet is when I'm listening to music, because the music is, the noise and the stimulation for me. And so, I would say music is the most meditative thing for me. Listen to anything and everything. Like, check out, Rachmaninoff, check out like Deftones, like listen to random things that you wouldn't typically like, just to learn and to like increase, your knowledge of music overall, because that's going to make you more interesting.
What's your favorite Rachmaninoff piece?
Oh gosh. Piano Concerto No. 2.
That's a great one, yeah.
Yes.
I don't meditate, but I do go to the gym like 4 days a week and weightlift at least 3 of those. And it's the one time of my day where I actually don't have headphones in. Because I usually have my AirPods in my ears like 80% of my day. So it's a similar effect to me where like I get to zone out. Like, I work predominantly West Coast hours and I'm on the East Coast. So like my day doesn't even start till noon a lot of times. But yeah, no, I'm big on routine and giving myself like first thing in the morning, like coffee, make my bed, go to the gym. Like it's a non-negotiable for me.
I don't meditate, but I like to do at least one thing that makes me happy a day. Whether it be I watch Twitch streamers, and whether it be like I know I'm gonna watch this Twitch streamer tonight, like I look forward to that. because that's the easy answer, because sometimes you don't have time, and sometimes just as long as you find that one thing, eat, like I love this cheese coffee cake from Publix, right? I keep that shit stocked in my freezer. Like, and if I'm feeling sad, I eat some cheesecake. So like that's the easy one for me, is obviously I do one happy thing a day. And then see a fucking therapist, man. I love therapy. I'm like, Miranda, let's go see a therapist. And that's the harder thing. It takes time. It's more complex, but do one happy thing for yourself as an easy thing and go see a fucking therapist.
All right, I got another question, and it's a hard one. It's a failure question. So, and I'm going to start with Matt, because since you're here, we'll kick the shit out of you while you're here. Talk about your startup and the failure of it, and how you dealt with that, since we're kind of on the mental health part of this. And for you, think about something that was, and I'm this is a little selfish for me, right? Because I'm watching something I helped create fail.
Yeah.
Talk about that, about the process, and how, and then what came out of it that turned out to be positive.
Yeah. So, I jumped into entrepreneurship. I sort of saw what podcasts were in 2015 with the launch of Serial and Gimlet Media and all these companies. And I just sort of had this light bulb moment of like, oh, podcasters and artists, like, fundamentally are just people that have something to say. How they make money is different, but fundamentally it's digital audio. And so I was like, fuck it, I'm going to start a record label or a network that's for podcasters. And, it was a big case of imposter syndrome. I had no prior background. I literally just had a work ethic and an ability to learn as much as I could and speak with the level of confidence that I had. And I had what I thought, at the time was going to be not life-changing clients, but two really big clients that I thought were going to be like the launch pad of my business, fall through the roof. One was a lesson in being confident about what you're capable of doing and holding that confidence. And another one was a lesson in, like, sometimes going into business with people that are shady is not the move for you. And so there was a lot of lessons. There was the lesson in accepting that. There was the lesson in being like, this is annoying and hard, and I'm working 2 part-time jobs on top of everything else that I'm doing to, like, make this work. But there also is the lesson in over time, sort of 2 things. One, I got more confident because the amount of times that I failed, I was like, all right, there's the lesson learned. And also, like, and not to dig on CMAC here, but like, I saw what was happening with Dart at the same time. And so for me, it was like, I'm 23, 24. Like, I don't have a wife. I don't have a mortgage. I don't have kids. Like, if there's ever a time for me to try something and fail, like, now is the time. And so through that was just this relentless, just like, it's not the end of the world at the end of the day. Like, you can fucking pick yourself up and get back to it. And through that, I was able to land my first, like, startup job where I was the first full-time hire, because I knew more about the industry that my bosses were working in than they did. And that was because I relentlessly spent hours upon hours upon hours doing the hard work and persistence and research to speak confidently about what I knew. And so, like, I think Mark maybe said it, but it's like, good luck looks like hard work and comes dressed in overalls. Like, you just got to do the fucking work. And so there's a lot of lessons. And so, yeah, and it was a lesson in, like, I thought my world was falling apart many times. And it's like, every setback that I have now professionally, it's like, this is nothing compared to sort of the grief and trauma that I was dealing with back then. So, and it's also a lesson in humility. Like, you can do everything that you feel like is right and smart, and it'll blow up in your face. And, like, maybe part of it's in your control. More than likely it's not. And so taking that and just learning and going forward is sort of the end all be all at the end of the day. So
Around the horn. Cameron, what about you?
Just what concerning failures?
Failure, yeah, something that you set out to do and failed, and what did you learn from it, and what was the silver lining?
I mean, let me think here. I mean, when I graduated from grad school, I did my thesis on designing basically a working plugin based on a schematic. And I initially went to Reed to see if he had any plugins that he enjoyed that he would like to have or any hardware that he would like to have a plugin of. And he kind of turned me in the right direction on a project. And I was never the best coder in life. I tried to kind of be good at a lot of different things throughout my schooling, but that was probably the thing that I learned that was most valuable, at least on a grad school point of view. And I got the code working offline so you could process and input and output. So it was definitely enough to consider it an accomplished thesis, and I graduated. But I didn't end up getting a job in coding out of school, and my professor hired people from my class, and it was kind of a blow to my confidence. And I haven't actually gotten around to, there was a big couple gap year that I sort of just put it down in terms of getting it, because you have to kind of learn to code it in a different software in order to get it to process real-time audio signals like a plugin. And I guess let me land this plane here, as they say. I kind of just, last year was kind of the turning point where I was good with moving on from the past and what happened, and accepted that I wasn't the best coder. But I started to kind of dive back in to finish the project because it feels like I just left it off at a bad point. But and I've made progress on it since I sort of moved past that wall in my own mind, and getting close to a prototype. So that's just kind of off my head.
AJ Jones, what you
God,
got?
I'm so used to AH. That threw me off.
Sorry.
That threw me off. I love that you call me AJ now. A failure. Do I talk
You
about
can talk about whatever you want.
the current?
They've mostly signed NDAs. Half of them.
Hey now. Now I ain't saying shit. I don't know. I think a big failure for me, and I'm not going to talk about the one currently. So backstory, Better Than Booze. You guys know some of it. It's a very successful company that is struggling. And I'm not going to talk about it because I don't have a silver lining yet. I know that there's probably going to be a silver lining at some point, but there's no silver lining right now, just horror and pushing through. So a big failure for me was that I think coming out of college, I was really, really I graduated with a 4.0, and I was got awards and outstanding music business student and all this bullshit, and it was great. But then I got into the music industry and I wasn't great. And I didn't like it. And everything that I had worked for the past 4 years, which was a lot. I also, Miranda, when you said something about developing an immune disorder or something, I also went to the hospital 3 separate occasions in college because I worked myself so hard to be this great person because I had such big expectations, and then I hated it. And it was really hard because I felt like I had failed because I had dedicated so much time to something. for it to just be not what I wanted. And it was really hard because you feel like you wasted time. But through that, I met people, and I met Mark, and I met connections. And through the rough spots and furloughs of the pandemic and all that shit, Mark took me on in a startup. And I'd never been in a startup. I didn't even know anything about a startup. I didn't even know they existed, quite frankly, in the sense of, hey, you can do whatever you want. And it was really a lesson in stuff is not going to work out all the fucking time, every time, no matter how hard you try and how perfect you want to be. But sometimes it's for the better. And because of that startup, now I'm in this startup, and I've made more connections, and I'm kind of figuring out the path of where I want to be. And my current position, operations manager and key accounts manager, it's exactly what I want to do. I feel like I finally clicked with something, and I feel like I'm good at it, and I enjoy what I do, and I could put in 12 hours, whereas I was putting in 12 hours of the music industry being like, what the fuck am I doing? But I think that once you find something that you really enjoy, it was definitely a blessing in disguise that I failed.
Find a job you love, and you'll never work another day in your life.
There you go.
All right, Miranda, you, and then we'll close with Christian.
I'm going to spring off of that saying it can just be a job you like, as long as you carve out the time in your life for your passions. Because when I was in my undergrad, I thought that I was going to be a performing artist full time. And then I got very sick, and then the pandemic hit, and it was just a question of, okay, what do I do with myself? So the work that I do now, I genuinely enjoy it, but it's the things I do outside of work that feed my soul. And just because your day job isn't the dream job, it doesn't mean that you failed. And I think about, with my personal example, the reason that I ended up in Washington, D.C. is because my husband got a job here. He's in one of the premier military bands that's based in DC. And so he gets to play his instrument every day. And it's like truly the dream, right? And I love that for him so much. And I make sure he knows how lucky he is to have that, if that makes sense. Because, again, it's so few people strike the perfect balance. And that balance, is something that it exists. It exists for a very fortunate few. But your life and career can still be so worthwhile without this idea of the perfect job, like being a touring artist, being a full-time songwriter, all of these things. It's like you want to do these things because they're what you're great at. It's what you know. It lights you up, and it does. But at the same time, there's that like creeping little, again, a minor in reality. The reality is coming back to bite. Knowing that you haven't failed if the creative thing that you love doing isn't the center of like your everyday. As long as you are making the time and sharing it with people, even if it's a small circle, even if it's your closest friends or your family, as long as you are doing the thing that you love, it doesn't have to be the thing that's bringing you the most income. So that's the wisdom that I'll give in terms of failure is you haven't failed if the thing that you love doing most doesn't take up the most of your time.
Christian?
Of course. Yeah, I mean, I feel like I've failed multiple times, I think it's like, it's part of it, in terms of just like the traditional, sense of failing or whatever, shit, when I came out to LA, I originally wanted to be a superstar A&R. Like that was the original goal, and work at whatever major label and work my way up until I, run the company. That was the original goal. But I couldn't even get an interview. Like I didn't get a single interview at any company, and I applied for them all. The only interview I ever got, and I actually got that while I was still in Nashville, was ASCAP. And they interviewed me once and then never called me back. So I didn't even make it past the first round, and you just once again to figure things out. Like that's literally why I started my company. It wasn't because I wanted to, you know, you know, just make a company about me. I don't care about that so much. I just wanted to be the best of whatever I did, and I started it because I couldn't get a job. And in that I've bumped my head and and had some temporary failures along the way. For a while I didn't even know I was, but I learned, through reading and experience more than anything, because I never had a corporate job, right? So I don't know what structure looks like, you know. Um Mark has helped with that, since then we had some conversations, but I didn't know what structure looked like. I didn't know, what that smelled like or anything, you know what I mean? I never had it. The most corporate job I had was being an assistant manager in Murfreesboro, or is it, no, Murfreesboro, yeah, for T-Mobile. That was the closest thing, right? So very far removed from what it looks like. And I was a horrible boss, I feel like, looking back on things, I did a lot of great things for my team. And I wanted to have it everything, but there's just certain things that I didn't even realize was part of this because nobody did it for me. I never had that. So but you pivot and you keep pushing, and I think that's the beauty of life, so.
Thank you. That's great. Okay, guys, you have one more chance. Any last questions for these folks? Otherwise, we're going to give them their lives back. Any other
I have a
questions? Go.
This one's for a Christian, primarily. You say you write songs. I love composing. How do I work for you?
What do you like composing? What, like you're a producer, or you like scores, or
In any realm of music.
send me some music, man. Send me some music, and if you come out of this class, I'm always down to help people out, man. If you come from MTSU, in general, I'm always down to help. But if you're coming out of Mark's class, then 100%, I am down to help if I can. Send me some music, and I'll give you my honest feedback on that. If it's incredible, I'll let you know. If it's not, I'll let you know. But once again, I think that's the beauty of it, right? Because you don't know where you stand until you know what I mean? Like, I thought I was the greatest of all time at things when I wasn't, you know what I mean? And I still have ways to go, but that's the first step to becoming better. So I'm down to help out, and while I got y'all's attention, another thing I'll say is, this is just advice for like the whole class community. Whenever like Mark does things like this, I really encourage you all to like come with questions and things prepared, right? I don't know how many of you all already have jobs in the music industry, or adjacent. Maybe you're all good, but if you're not, there's so much things you can learn from these people here, that are all really busy and taking their time, just because of, Mark's, here, like we're going to take our time and do it. So I would really encourage you to come prepared with questions so that you can learn. It doesn't matter what you want to do, whether you want to be a producer, a rapper, a entrepreneur, whatever it is, there's something you can learn. Even like I said, if you want to be an artist, like we work with artists or work for artists in different capacities, there's things you should learn about the business. Once again, to Miranda's point, until you really get to a certain point, it's your business, so they're like, one of my clients is a songwriter. Her name is Nisha Charles. She's a really big songwriter, written for everybody, right? There's Nisha, the artist songwriter, and then there's Nisha Charles, the human, right? And she has to treat her business like a business. So, you can, or Amnesia, name for her company, but either way, like you're a business. Every artist that you can name has a LLC, a business of some sort, right? Or S corp or whatever else. So I highly encourage you to take advantage of the time and spend this time to learn something, anything at all, or just make a connection. At very least, there's some people who didn't speak, and that's completely fine. But you never know. Maybe you make a connection that gets you a job in 3 years. So that's just my word of encouragement, and that you can take and do with it as you please. But yeah.
We got one more. You kind of just said something like this about like just making sure to like ask questions and like be prepared and things like that. But like besides that, is there anything else, like just like tips for just like how to get the most out of this class or anything else?
I mean, just work hard and be present. Like that's something I say. Like I said, like be present. Like out of this class, I know there's Matt 1/2, right? And like, I don't know anybody else's name, right? But it's like, be present, speak up, and that's the thing that I can say. And Mark is so incredible. There's people that's have graduated. I don't know who the oldest, time has been, but I graduated 11 years ago, or 12 years ago. I graduated 12 years ago, and I'm still, in conversation with Mark. So, and I was very vocal back then. At least I think so. Maybe he
You were very vocal.
There you go. I think it's helped. I reached out to him like 8 years later or something, and he remembered me. I think that's there's value to that. It's just make yourself be known, because once again, what I said earlier, it's more important. It's who knows. It's what you know and who you know, but it's more important who knows you. So make sure people know you, and this is a great opportunity. I said this earlier. I'm sorry, I don't want to overtalk or whatever else, but I cannot express how valuable it is, because once you graduate, right, these opportunities don't come as frequently. You know what I mean? Like, it's not so, because you have to find people. That means you have to hit them on LinkedIn or Instagram, and everybody hits them. Like, a lot of people here, I'm sure, are constantly trying to reach out to these people and get in contact with them. So it's like, you have somebody right now. It's a closed audience. So it's like, speak on the things you want to speak on things you want to learn about, and take that and apply it. That's why Mark does things like this, and it's incredible. I didn't get this with anybody else when I was there, so. And it only gets harder.
Go through Mark's LinkedIn and find 5 people that you want to talk to, and then be like, hey, what's your relationship to this person? Maybe there's not a great one there. But I remember Mark connecting me with somebody that I used to work with, the Flow, many years ago. And I was like, I'm looking for a job. And she was like, go through my LinkedIn, find 5 people, and tell me to like reach out to them for you. So like it literally is as simple as that. And like, know what you bring to the table, and understand that, like, again, most people, if you butter them up and you ask them that you'll buy them a coffee and get an hour of their time, like, for the most part are down to like push the elevator back down, because we've all, again, had to start somewhere. So.
And also, to that point, Matt, like what I say too is, if somebody hits me and says they're like, in college right now, they want to learn, I'm a little bit more, like, I think, open to responding to just like, a random person. You know what I mean? Like, I think it helps. I think there's benefits of being in college, or even being freshly out of college, right? Because at some point, when it's like 3-4 years later, everybody, you kind of, you don't get that same type of like personal empathy or whatever relation, because I don't know, whatever.
You don't get the get out of jail card. If you're 28 hitting me up, it's a little bit weird. But if you're 21 and you're figuring this shit out, like, I'm a little bit more sympathetic.
Yeah. I love that you phrased it as the get out of jail card. That's so funny.
That's awesome. All right.
Yeah, I wanted to add something too.
Yeah, please.
Something Christian said remind me of it, is to not overlook the people that you're in class together with. Like, if you're a producer and you're trying to make music, are there any artists on your campus that you think are really consistent, or lacking a producer or someone to mix, because you guys are growing together. And some of the people I knew growing up, some of the biggest producers I knew now were just got going because they met someone in college and like kind of brought them on as a producer for them before they kind of blew up. So you never know who's going to blow up. And if you have someone you believe in that's going to school, like that's in class with you, see how your strengths complement each other in that front.
Good advice. Any other last words for these guys?
Unrelated, but I don't live in Nashville anymore, but that won't stop me from plugging a Nashville show. Has anybody here heard of Nordista Freeze? Anybody? He throws the craziest party in Nashville every year called Space Prom. It is Space Prom. So think if like prom was held in the 80s on Mars. It's an amazing experience. It's a ridiculous amount of fun. It's at the Basement East on Friday and Saturday. You all should go. You all should make friends. It will be a blast. Like, seriously. Freeze is one of my favorite people in the Nashville scene.
Yeah. That's awesome. AJ, any last words? We'll give you the last word.
God, the pressure. I don't honestly. I talk a lot. I don't know that I have any advice. These folks have been really great. I mean, this panel's incredible. I mean, I think I'm the only non-music business, but I think if I could say anything non-music business related is explore your options, be uncomfortable, and as they said, email people, hit them up. If you want to talk to someone, talk to them. I mean, just keep going and eat some cheesecake from Publix. It's really good.
Oh, I miss Publix. Why'd you have to say that?
Hey guys, thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate your time. We'll catch you on the flip
Thanks,
side.
guys.
You may hear from some of them. And by the way, you remember, if you hear from them, I need to know because they get extra credit.
For sure.
All right.
Bye,
All right,
everybody.
take it
Good luck.
easy.